Hey Vic, I got two for you. First, what kind of progress do you think Drew and Teddy have made during this on-field portion of the program?
I think they both done well. Obviously, they're getting more comfortable with the offense. I see them operating a little quicker, a little faster with their decisions, comparing it to the first few days to now. And I think both of them have benefited greatly from the work we've done.
And then secondly, Melvin Gordon here today. Did you get a kind of look at him to see what kind of shape he was in after not being here?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. He's probably not getting enough reps to really be tested, but he seems to be in good shape. We'll see. See how he comes back tomorrow from the work he had today. And then obviously the next 5 weeks will be critical for him.
Let's go Arnie Stapleton, followed by Nick Kosematter. Go ahead, Arnie.
Hey, Vic, I see you have Shaq Griffin in as one of your mini camp tryout players. What do you hope to see from him? And is special teams kind of his forte back into the league?
Yeah, obviously it's hard to totally evaluate the special teams part of it, but he's got enough tape out there, obviously, that, we know who he is or who he can be in special teams. We just need to evaluate him in total, whether there can be a spot for him on the team to bring to camp and if he's worthy enough of it. Obviously, he's played enough in this league. He's a good special teams player and somebody that we're going to take a hard look at.
Thanks.
Let's go Nick Kosematter, followed by Troy Rank. Go ahead, Nick.
Hi, Vic. Last year, obviously, Graham Glasgow dealt with the COVID-19 absence, had some injuries as well. That kind of disrupted his rhythm a little bit. But what are you kind of seeing from him in this offseason? What do you kind of expect from him as a starter on that line in 2021?
Well, hopefully to avoid the roadblocks and potholes that he had last year. I think, again, like a lot of guys, it's not as noticeable with O-linemen as it is with quarterbacks. But second year in the offense, second year working next to Cush. He's got some new guys that he's got to work next to with the center position and obviously a right tackle. So expect him to have a good season. And I think he expects that out of himself too.
Let's go Troy Rank, followed by Andrew Mason. Go ahead, Troy.
Yes, Coach, you look out there when you have Surtain, you have Darby and Fuller, Simmons and Jackson. Will this secondary allow you to be more creative given your mind for defense? Will this open up some possibilities that maybe didn't exist in your first 2 years here?
It's possible. And you didn't mention Callahan either.
Excuse me, Callahan.
Yeah, I mean, we might be able to play some more man. Might be able to pressure more than we have. It will be an evolving process as we get to know them and figure out the best way for our defense in total to play. But obviously, the better you are at those positions, it does open up more avenues.
If you can play more man, would that free up some more blitzing? You had some great success with that last year. I know you did it a lot at different points in your career, but would the ability to play man allow you to maybe blitz more?
Possibly, yes. Definitely.
Let's go Andrew, followed by Eric. Go ahead, Andrew.
A couple of things, Vic. First of all, how has Justin Strnad looked to you the last few weeks, and what do you think of the role he might end up assuming?
Yeah, Justin, other than him being in meetings last year, really is a rookie. He got hurt last year in camp very, very early, like practice 5, 6, or 7. And he's really like a rookie on the field, but he's doing well. We like the way he moves. We like his attitude. He's definitely a very conscientious player, wants to carve out a role for himself with the defense. And it'll be critical for him to be a mainstay on our special teams. Your backup linebackers have to do that. But overall, we've all been pleased with Justin where he's at. So far, he's shown no ill side effects of the wrist injury he had. We're going to try and be cautious with him in that regard, but eventually he's going to have to use it, and he has been. And, we think the future's bright for him.
And secondly, is something up with Jerry Jeudy, because we saw him out there early and not much late?
Yeah, he had a his stomach started acting up a little bit, so we took him in.
Let's go Eric Dalala, followed by Kyle Newman. Go ahead, Eric.
The coach, a couple for you. The outside linebacking group, how do you feel about the depth behind Vaughn and Bradley right now at that unit?
Well, we've got Malik, and it's definitely wide open after that. We need to find another two guys, preferably, that we feel comfortable with, both from a special team standpoint and from a playing defense standpoint, to go in and spell those guys. So it's wide open, and we're looking.
And then secondly, is there a guy that you can think of that maybe we haven't asked you a lot about that's impressed you this offseason and you think could take a step in camp?
Well, the guy that's had a really good camp, from start of OTAs till now, has been Kendall. And, he's really looked good as a receiver, and he's improved a lot. And he's in the hunt there for one of those spots.
If you no longer have a question, can you please lower your hand? We've got time for about 3 more. Let's go Kyle Newman, followed by Brandon Cristal. Go ahead, Kyle.
Coach, with Baron Browning, how long is it going to take him to catch up from that injury? And can you say exactly what it is? I know you said it was a lower body injury before.
Yeah, I don't know the exact, it's a lower leg injury. It's more of a bone thing than a ligament thing. He'll be full go and ready to go by training camp. He's really, that's been probably the biggest negative of this offseason work, was him not getting the work that he would have gotten. But we're still very high on him, very optimistic, and hopefully he'll be able to carve out a role on the team, both defensively and in the kicking game, and anxious to get him back working in training camp. But still like him all the same. He still has versatility. Could play some outside for us, could play some inside. We'd, like to settle him in one spot, but may not be able to, especially with the injury. But we'll see how that evolves.
And then on the other side of the ball, Javonte Williams, how are you hoping he kind of picks up or sparks this offense throughout the summer and going into the season?
Well, you always need a couple backs to carry the load offensively. And I don't see any limits with him. He could, we could work him and Melvin, just spelling as it goes. One could get the predominant third down stuff. It will work itself out, but we think he's capable on all down and distances and all situations for us, and believe that him and Melvin will be a good combination back there, along with Booney.
Let's go final 2, Brandon Cristal, followed by George Storia. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, Vic, since I don't know if we'll talk to you before camp starts, off the top of your head, do you have a list of guys that you expect to be ready for the start of the season, but probably won't be ready for the start of camp, will be on pup list or whatever?
I think most everybody will be ready by the start of camp. Some guys will have to curtail their work, such as Alberto. Probably Bassie will not be working by the start of the camp. When I say working in team drills and those types of things. I think Cortland will be working. He won't be on the PUP. Again, we'll be managing him. Duke will probably not be working by then yet. But I think other than those two, I think everybody will be working and ready to go.
So Chubb and Purcell, you feel good about
Chubb,
those?
yes, he'll be ready to go. We may have to we'll manage his work just from a conditioning standpoint, because with his injury, he hasn't been able to work out as much, and he'll be working out the next 5 weeks prior to that, but he's not quite ready to push it hard. So his limitations will be more conditioning than anything else.
George Storia, go ahead, finish us off.
Yeah, Vic, I know last week we asked you about players being vaccinated. I was wondering if you have a percentage or a number of how much of your staff has been vaccinated. And then I have a follow-up question too.
The staff has all been vaccinated. The players, we're somewhere, going to be somewhere by the end of this week in the high 60s to low 70s probably, maybe a little bit more. You know, we've got about 61 guys that have started the process or are vaccinated. And then we've got a bunch of guys that have said they're going to. So, you know, it's like college, like in college recruiting, there's a lot of verbal commitments that don't follow through. So we'll see how our verbal vaccinations follow through.
And secondly, right tackle is obviously a big competition this offseason. I mean, has it been hard to evaluate even that so far with Massey being out? And I saw, you know, Calvin Anderson was out today. What have you seen from that? I know Quinn Bailey and Fleming.
Yeah, it's really early. You know, you've got two things there that make it hard to really comment much on it. One, the injuries that you alluded to with Calvin and Bobby. And two, the work that we've done for the bulk of the offseason. You know, they hadn't involved the linemen a whole lot. We started involving them last week and then today. So they haven't had a lot of work, and you need the pads on to evaluate O-line and D-line. And so there's really not much that I can say and intelligently say there.